This must be the first thing that I change when I set up Cubase on a new system or when I go to work to a different system, a different studio. And this is always the customization of my meters. Let me show you how to do it. Customizing my Cubase meters is extremely important for me. And this is not because of aesthetic reasons. This is because I want my meters in Cubase to give me the information that is important to me when I'm mixing, when I'm mastering, when I'm producing, when I'm doing sound design. Needless to say that with Supervision that was included in Cubase 11, everything changed. Cubase does have the best metering on the market when it comes to DAWs. If you know a DAW that has better metering than Cubase, let me know in the comments down below, but I'm pretty sure that you'll be hard-pressed to find a DAW that does metering better than Cubase right now, as of this date. Okay, so let me show you how I customize my meters in Cubase, because to be honest with you, the default behavior doesn't work for me. So it might work for many people, but for me, it doesn't work. I always have to change them. So let me show you what I do every single time when I want to change my meters. First of all, let me show you my meters. I'm going to play this loop here, and I want you to see my meters right here. And I clipped these drums on purpose so that you can see how the meters look like. Now, how do we customize the Cubase meters? I get this question all the time. How did you make your meters look like that, Dom? Let me show you. We go Edit, Preferences, and here is where we can start customizing our meters. So in order to do this, we go to Metering and we go to Appearance. Now here is where we can start customizing the colors, the different scales. But before I do this, let me show you something else. Every single time what I do when it comes to Cubase metering is I go to Metering and then I set my values like this. So I leave the peak hold time at 3000 milliseconds. I don't care about this so much, but what I do care about is the fallback. Now the meters in Cubase, unless something was changed in the latest versions, I'm not sure because I always change them. I always have them at the highest fallback, so 40 dBs. Now, I don't remember what the default value is, but I always go to the fastest. So if I go 10, check out the meters, check the ballistics. So they're quite slow. I can't remember what's the default value, but I always like my meters to be super, super fast and snappy. Like this. So that's the first tip. Now this emulates the behavior that I have on my converters metering. So very, very fast. I can see everything really, really clear and they're very, very snappy. So that's the first thing that I do. I go all the way up with the fallback. Now if I want a slower meter, I can always do this with the Supervision. And I have many different meters there. But this is my default for my channels because I want to be able to see straight away what's happening. If there's silence, I want to see it snappy. Now, the next thing I change is the appearance. Now, as you can see, here is my own setup for the channel meter. So this is my channel meter, right? So what I have here is I have blue and I have a nice gradient here, and I'm going to show you how to do this. And then at minus 12 dBs, I have a very straight, rigid, solid yellow area that goes up to minus 6 dBs. And the reason why I have this is because it's very critical when it comes to doing my gain staging. I always make sure that when I go to my output right here, I want to be peaking around minus 12 when I start a mix. So it's way, way easier if I have a solid color that ranges from minus 12 to minus 6 dBs and it's not a gradient. I like it this way, but you might want to change it for aesthetic reasons. For me, I prefer to be practical. So I want to know when I reach minus 12 on all my channels, because I know that minus 6 dBs is the point where I should start to be a little bit careful with my gain staging. I don't want to go to 0. So I have only 6 dBs of headroom to play with my compressors, my EQs, my limiters, my saturation, all these things. And of course, then I have a solid red that's just for me to know that I'm clipping this channel and I should back it off, unless I am planning to do something crazy. Now, let me show you how you set this up, right? In case you don't know. So what I do here, I'm going to switch to a different scale. As you can see, we have digital, we have DIN, we have EBU, British, K scales, LUFS scales, and all these things. So you can customize all of these. So just to show you, I'm going to go to the +6 scale, and I'm going to show you how I can customize this one. It's the same exact thing. Now, as you can see, we can do stuff like this. We can have our different ranges here and we can move them around. But what if you want to add more colors or reduce the colors? So for example, if you want to approach the Nuendo kind of look for your view meters, the only thing you need to do is go here, press Control or Command on the Mac, click, and then this range disappears. So now if I want to do it Nuendo style, I can just go like this, and let's go like that. I think Nuendo is something like this. I use Nuendo, by the way, many of you ask me. So I can go like this, maybe a little bit more to the yellow, like that. Click OK, and then I can go to the top and do something like this. And there we go. Now we have a completely different layout. Now let's say I want to do something crazy. I want to start with blue and then move on to, let's say, purple and then go to red. Before we move on to the next bit, if you're still here and you enjoyed this video, and you haven't subscribed, maybe you might want to consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. It costs nothing to you, but it means a lot for this channel because it really allows me to make more videos like this. These videos are not sponsored, so any support I would really appreciate. Leaving a like, leaving a comment, subscribing, of course. And if you really want to support what I'm doing, you can use the super thanks button, but you don't have to. Maybe you want to check out my instruments, the Modern 80s drum kit and the Apollo expansion for Patch Shop. Thank you so much for listening. Let's move on. Now, if I go like this, you can see I have the green right here. I'm not going to care too much about this. So I'm going to start with like a nice teal like this. Click OK. And then I'm going to add a point here. Now, I'm going to hit Alt or Option on the Mac. Click. And now we have a new point. And we can add as many as we want. So this is how you add more points. You just hit Alt in this area, and then you can add more points. So you can really make your meters really colorful if you want to. So let's go like this, and let's say I want to go for a, like a purple, something like that. Click OK, and then extend it here, for example. And then from here, let's go for let's keep the purple thing, like this maybe. Click OK, and then maybe here I can just have like a yellow thing or like something like this. And now we have a completely different color layout. Now, for me, I'm very traditional. Maybe I'll have to change this at some point because I'm actually quite tired with this configuration. But I really like this, and I'm so used to it. The great thing with this is that even when I'm far in the room, when I'm playing my Sims or when I'm producing, I'm recording a guitar, I can immediately see the levels. The same goes for my input levels, for my input channels. I can immediately see when I'm hitting -6. There's no question, there's no gradient, it's a straight line. So when you do this, you just click OK and everything will be updated here. Now, whatever changes you make to your Cubase meters, you can have them reflect on Supervision. So in this case, I have a Supervision instance open. And if I go to the cogwheel here, you will see we have the meters here. So I have the scale. So if I go, for example, to the 3dB digital scale, which is my channel, I can set this to scale. And now I have the meters that I have selected for my digital scale for all my channels. Now, the great thing with Supervision, of course, is that we can change the fallback. So again, this is quite slow. If I want to go fast, this is very, very snap. But most of the times, if I don't use this kind of meter, I always go for a view meter instead. And in this case, I always set it to a view dBFS meter. This reacts like a view meter, which I really like. So there you go, my friends. This is how you set up your meters in Cubase, and I showed you my way of customizing the meters. Your mileage may vary according to your needs, but this is how I do it, and I hope that now you have a very good understanding on how to customize your meters. With this, I'm going to leave you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care and bye-bye.